I was thinking when my wife was pregnant that I had a lot of premonitions that there'd be just something wrong here and there, that there'd be something, a defect or something we'd have to deal with. And I guess it's just a worry, as a parent or a future parent. But I'm so grateful to the saints for all the prayers that went up for us, and to God that everything went so smoothly. I was thinking specifically to how Sister Marcina had told us, like, I'm praying for a smooth delivery, for everything to just go nice and easy, and that everything be natural and normal, and no complications. And it went exactly that way. Everything was just so ideal. And so I was so thankful just how everything turned out that way. And it's funny to see, when we were online, to see an analog for that. Actually, I felt like occur here in the church, a few weeks ago, or maybe months. Brother Lee had a lot of the brothers go in and pray with Brother Dalon when he went in there to get saved. And so when you pray with someone and they get saved, it kind of births a burden in you to see them do well. And a day after my son was born, they wanted him back to do some checks on him to make sure he was progressing. And they do a lot of checks on babies to make sure, like, their hearing has come in, to make sure their bowel movements are regular, and to make sure that their weight, they're meeting all these thresholds that they wanted them to make. And so we had to bring him back a day later, a week later, and they did a few checks. And to see my son hit all of those checks and just be, yep, he's good, he's normal, was so gratifying and pleasing. Yeah. And it was like what I experienced in the natural world, I experienced in the spiritual world, to see Brother Dalon come up to the mic over these past couple of weeks and give some testimonies. And I just thought, my goodness, it's like sort of the same thing. You see these benchmarks at their meeting where they have a testimony with a realness in them. I was thinking about how there's an old hymn that says, heaven above is softer blue, earth around is sweeter green. Something lives in every hue that Christless eyes have never seen. And so that's speaking of how it's like the colors of the world become real when you get saved, because you know the maker of them. And to hear that from his testimony, like I say, it was like the spiritual analogy to the natural of what I was seeing with my son meeting all of these checks, which I attribute to the grace of God and the prayers of the saints. And so I was so thankful for that. And I was so given to thought when my brother had his first child. He came to church, and he said that it was like a revelation to him to have a son now. He said John 3:16 never meant the same thing to him after that. So because we think of that as like Jesus and as being about Jesus and the sacrifice he made. And he said that the revelation he got was that was not, the verse isn't really about Jesus, it's about the Father. It's about the sacrifice that the Father made to give up his son. He said, now that I have a son, what would it take for me to give him up to somebody, And when he said that, I not having children, I didn't really understand how that could be, because I thought, I don't know anybody that would give up their son for, any one of you, as wonderful as you all might be, it just didn't make sense to me. But there was one night when my son cried a little, and I got up and I went over to his crib, and he stopped crying. So I just kind of stood there and watched over him, and I thought, if he cries again, I'll pick him up, see what I can do. And my wife was still sleeping, and I was thinking about that. What would I give up this boy for? And I just thought I couldn't imagine someone I would give his life up for. And my eyes wandered to the bed where my wife was sleeping, and I thought, there's somebody that if I had to give him up for anybody, it would be her. And I realized that that's what God did. It was he sacrificed his son to secure his bride. And I thought that was, it made me so conscious of the responsibility that I have being part of the bride of Christ. It's like God thought his son was worth giving up for me, and I better walk worthy of this way. It was encouraging, and it was a challenge. So I really thank God for all he's done for me in these past couple of weeks. All of it.
Amen.